Aviso, você violou o código da Division. Agora está designado como traidor.
So let's talk PvP. It's a huge part of the Division experience. Love it or hate it, because obviously it's a controversial experience, in the Dark Zone especially. What can you tell us about how the Dark Zone might evolve in the sequel?
Absolutely nothing.
Right, got it. Well, that's exciting. That
Yeah.
shuts that down nice and fast.
I'm sorry.
So when I ask you if the Dark Zone is going to have some kind of Battle Royale influence in it here at E3, you would tell me I can't answer that here at E3?
Can you tell us anything about a potential Dark Zone or PvP area in the Division 2?
I can, but I won't.
All right.
I'm not allowed to.
So I'm basically a glorified spreadsheet junkie. I have Excel open, probably 3 or 4 sheets open at a time, constantly tweaking data and figuring out, what numbers make the game feel the best.
Right.
For me, I think the highlight of the stuff that I worked on was, well, people are going to hate me for this one. Well, half of the audience is going to hate me for this one. I was responsible for Rogue 2.0.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Kind of, I remember Terry came to me and was like, hey, Taylor, I want to completely change the way Rogue works in the Dark Zone. And I was like, cool, for the Division 2, right? Like, we're thinking about the future. And he's like, no, I want to do this in the live game. I'm like, okay, sure.
What was that like? That must have been quite a lot of pressure.
There
were a lot of feelings about Rogue 2.0,
Yes.
which you must have known already when you started drafting on it.
For sure.
What was that like?
It was very intimidating, but like the whole goal with Rogue 2.0 was to kind of refine the Rogue experience, like make it so that players don't accidentally go Rogue and remove some of the cheesiness that was there. And then Manhunt was supposed to feel like you were the ultimate badass in the Dark Zone. But in Rogue 1.0, you had to just run off your timer and that was it. So like giving you an opportunity to make your stand at like the Manhunt bounty terminals, like it just completely changed the experience and really brought home what we wanted players to experience from Manhunt.
Right.
Mandem os infelizes pelos ares. Descer a lenha. Vai lá pelo outro lado.
Status de traidor revogado.
Eles não vão aguentar muito mais tempo. Atenção, cambada. Pegaram ele.
And in the first game, that was a solid border all the way around the Dark Zone. And it actually could create situations where the Dark Zone that you were in wasn't entirely full because players were not ever going to come in, but they were just close by and we had put them in a spot, right? So this time around, we've reined that in. You see those outer gates. We start putting you into a Dark Zone as you come through that outer gate or as you get close to one of the other checkpoints around the edges. And that enables us to have a little bit of time to look for a Dark Zone that fits the player profile of your group. So if you are, we don't necessarily do any kind of skill-based matchmaking or anything, but we do attempt to put solo players in with solo players and things like that.
Can you tell us, because I think one of the questions, certainly one question I have is just around balancing, right? Because it's not about the Dark Zone, this is about balancing in general. Are there any intentions to balance PvE and PvP differently this time around? Or is it going to be the case like in the old days where it's always the same?
We're looking at every tool in the toolbox to make sure that both experiences are the very best they can be. And but it shouldn't feel like two different games.
Okay.
Right, but we're putting a lot of focus and effort on that. Absolutely.
Okay. So
and to take the Dark Zone experience
sure.
to the next level.
Right. So it's possible that you're saying it's possible that PvE and PvP could be balanced separately. You've got nothing's off the table, is what you're saying. Nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table.
Okay, right, cool, fair enough.
Do you have a preference?
Certainly have a strong preference. They're managed differently, but that's just me. I know a lot of people actually love the fact that you build a gear set and you bring it into the Dark Zone, and that's the one you get to use to wreck people's faces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see how it's a very difficult decision, but I also see how being able to manage them separately allows you guys to be very pinpointed with your changes, and those guys can enjoy that thing, and those guys enjoy that thing, and that's it.
It's not off the table, but we want to also find that sweet spot where we respect.
Definitely, yeah.
The way you've decided to play the game as the character you're playing, and that is as much as possible transversal to the seamlessness of the nature of the game as well.
Doesn't make our lives easy.
No, certainly not.